Zaina, please let me know once we're live.
Yeah, we're live now.
Thank you. Welcome to today's temporary event notice objection hearing. My name is Councillor Baklini and I shall be chairing the meeting. My colleagues, Councillor Martin, Councillor Mahmoud and I comprise today's subcommittee. Hatoun Zeb is the legal advisor to the subcommittee and Zaina Ahmed is the Democratic Services Officer who is the clerk to the subcommittee and who will be minuting the meeting. In accordance with procedure, I shall invite those who have made representations to make their representations, answer any questions and call any witnesses. At the conclusion of the hearing, the subcommittee, accompanied by the legal advisor and the committee Democratic Services Officer, will retire to consider its decision. The decision will be given at the end of the meeting and confirmed in writing within 5 working days. If the panel cannot reach a decision today, you will be notified in writing within 5 working days of the panel's decision. Welcome everyone. Before we start the hearing, we noted that the premises holder for the tents, Ms. Pryor, have informed us that she is not attending in person and have provided written representations in relation to the objections from Sergeant Kassa, PC Hewson and Mimi Stupo. The panel has read these representations and will be considering them in our decision. I would like now, please, if Mimi Stupo would like to start her presentation, please.
Apologies, I'm having issues. Just give me 2 seconds. One sec. I'm having issues. Apologies for that. Would you like me to, shall I address the last documents that we were sent an hour ago, or do I address those later? I just want to ask about the procedure, because I'm not sure when am I addressing those concerns.
Well, yes, Hatun, please, if you could come.
Chair, it may be that Ms. Dipu doesn't need to repeat her written representations because they're quite extensive, and
yes.
You've had sight of those representations.
Yes.
Ms. Dipu has also this morning, the same as the panel, received the responses from the premises license holder, and perhaps you will only want to hear whether Ms. Dipu wants to add to those in response at that.
Yes, would you like to add anything in response, please?
Of course. Well, I'll clarify with regards to the issues that were raised, and one of them would be the petition that I have said that it's available, and I provided an old petition but not the recent petition. And as I said to the committee before during previous hearings, because we've been to quite a few hearings over the years regarding this premises, I am more than happy to provide copies of these videos to the committee to see them without the applicant, or in this the DPS, or any person linked to that premises. As I said, the residents are scared and they do not want to come forward and make those public because you can tell the location of their property from those videos, and I have raised this issue previously. I appreciate what Ms. Pryor stated in the made allegations that that's my personal view. It's not my personal view. I have no involvement with that venue. As I said, this is based on the conversations that I've had with quite a large number of residents. It wasn't just one resident against the businesses. It was also businesses. I'm happy to disclose the name of the businesses to the committee, but not to the applicant. As a council staff, if a resident asks me they do not want to come forward, how can I put their risk, their safety to? What if something happens? Then the council will be liable. I'll be liable. Of course, I wouldn't. It's not just liable. I would not. morally, how can I do that if a resident asks me, I do not want my details disclosed? And as we know, when it comes to licensing representations, if someone has safety concerns, they do not have to provide their details. As I said, I'm happy to disclose all that to the committee. And after I received this, I actually contacted one of the residents, and they stated that the issues still continue. I asked, can I disclose these videos to the committee without, and they said, of course. And based on that, further to the contact that I made because of these videos, they also said that they can't believe that after all these hearings and after the license was revoked, the business is still allowed to operate. And there are still the same issues, people congregating outside when they're not supposed to. And this is based on a conversation that I had, just looking at my team to see when I called them. Well, 12 minutes ago. This is based on a telephone conversation that I had with a resident, and customers are still out. They're still having what they called after hours parties. They're leaving the premises really late. And they actually said that they have more videos, recent videos, which they haven't sent because they were waiting for me to give them an update with regards to the hearing for the review, for the premises license review. Yeah, what else? Just give me 1 second. Yeah, so I was accused that it's my personal view, as that it's not my personal view, and they made reference to some Google reviews that I used. As we all know, Google reviews are public. It's public information. I am allowed to use that, and it helps with painting a picture when it comes to the type of business and the clientele that they have, and the concerns that some customers raise that they don't want to be there, and the issues that they had with the business in the past, and also the issue that we've had. And also with regards to they made reference to the notices that I have served. The notices were served not just on music. I don't know if you read all my the details from all the visits. There was inappropriate behavior. For example, there was SIA security doing pull-ups on the scaffolding with members, with customers, where that area at the front of the premises, it has a condition. The reason why it has a condition is not to cause public nuisance to residents that live directly above, or to the right, or to the left, or on the opposite the road, or across the road. That's the reason for having that condition, where having SIA dancing with customers and doing pull-ups on the scaffolding, that's not appropriate. And it was based on everything else. It was not just based on the music. It's based that they had the doors open, they had people outside. It was served for music and raised voices and people congregating, and them not worrying about customer dispersals or anything related to this. As I said, I'm more than happy, and the residents are happy to show these videos. If you want to adjourn this and you want to review this for another day, I'm happy, whatever you prefer. I'm happy to provide these videos. I don't know how, some of them are they're quite large. I don't know if I can send them via email, or we have to look into that, but I'm more than happy to provide those videos. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Mimi. I was wondering, Miss Zeb, would it be possible for the committee to get a view of the videos and the petition offline to make sure that we're respecting the residents' anonymity?
Chair, it's a matter for you on whether you think it's necessary for the purposes of these two applications. You may find that you have sufficient evidence in the representations that you've received and what you're going to hear during this hearing may be sufficient for you to make the decision. Whilst I've just been invited in, Chair, if I may just ask you to clarify with both the objectors, when they've made their representations, that their representations are in relation to both the TENS applications that you're dealing with today. Given the mirrored nature of those TENS, you are going to be hearing representations just once from both the objectors, as opposed to two separate hearings.
Yes, for the 25th and the 1st of January.
Indeed, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Zab. Yes, so you've heard Ms. Zab,
Sure.
Sergeant Kassa and Ms. Stupo. So do you agree that we are dealing with two hearings, but for like one hearing, but for the 2 dates?
For both events, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
For both
Chair.
events.
Chair, absolutely. That is absolutely clear because it falls within that festive period.
Yes, absolutely.
And we understand that it's the same venue, but they've applied for 2 temporary event notices, one for the 25th, one for the 1st. So yes, happy to discuss because the objection would be similar in ilk regarding both the 10s with regards to the same venue. So absolutely agreed, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry, Chair, to interrupt. I just realised that I've missed the most important point, which is regarding when these events they're proposed for Christmas Day and for New Year's Eve. And as I said, I spoke with one of the residents earlier, and they're saying that the people are still congregating outside. They're not dispersing properly. And this is another issue, being on Christmas Day and New Year's Eve. First, us as a noise team, we don't have a service. So if something happens, if we do receive complaints, it's again is going to be based on videos. If residents want to take videos on Christmas Day or maybe there, so we won't be able to respond to these concerns. And as we know, this premises has been reviewed, and at this stage we're still here trying to extend hours on Christmas Day, on New Year's Eve, when people want to be at home, maybe with family and friends, and not have to listen or deal with antisocial behaviour or music or any other issue from their premises or on these 2 events, on these 2 days. That's all I wanted. Just want to make a point that we do not have a service that we can help the residents on those 2 nights. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleagues, would you like to ask Ms. Stupa any questions? Councillor John Martin and Councillor Tariq Mahmood. Do you have any questions?
I have got a question, please. Yeah.
Go ahead, please, Councillor Mahmood.
Naomi, thank you very much for all the work you are doing it. But my question is very simple. So by looking at the situation, in your opinion, do you think 1 hour on Christmas Day and 3 hours on 1st of January will significantly increase crime and disorder and public nuisance?
But any period of time will increase it. Any period, an hour or 2 or half an hour, anything can happen in that half an hour. And why should those residents be affected or be exposed to that, especially on those days? Maybe they want to be with friends and family at home, or why would they need to be exposed for longer periods of time when they already have to deal with this premise? They already have a very light license. Why do they need to be even on those days to be exposed even more?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have a question, to be fair.
Okay, Councillor Martin. I don't as well. So in this case, we will move to Sergeant Kassa to present his representation.
Thank you very much, Chair, and fellow councillors and everybody on this panel today. Yes, we are here today to discuss the temporary event notices for the Stack Bar. From a police perspective, and I do understand the applicant's objection to our objection to it, but in terms of that, the premise was revoked on the 23rd of October of this year by the London Borough of Ealing's Licence Committee following an incident that occurred at that particular venue. With regards to the venue itself, historically, there have, pre my joining this department, I'm aware that there have been numerous incidents that have occurred at this venue. I'm aware that Emma, the applicant, has queried 3 of our she's given four incidents that she feels the police have misrepresented in their statements. And if I may answer those, just to clarify. So, for example, example 1, it's a CAD, which is an incident number. That was 2019. Unfortunately, I can't go that far back. I have to get that from our internal department because it is over 5-year period. But in terms of example 2, which I relate to, is the crime incident 2517313 of the year 2021. It is relating to a GBH, which is grievous bodily harm. Now, we've been told that we've misrepresented, or PC Hewison, my colleague, has misrepresented this. In terms of the crime report, police responded to a call made by Ealing CCTV room saying that some 50 meters near the vicinity of the venue, there was a large group of people. Yeah, outside. The crime report states that police were called by Ealing CCTV, who have stated that a large group of people were fighting in the street outside what the venue was then known as the Cavalieri Bar. Okay, so the police haven't misrepresented that. We just have to report what is given to us, if that makes sense, Chair. Where the investigation goes from there on in, that depends on the evidence, the victims that are involved, and what they want the outcome to be ultimately. So that was example 2. With regards to example 3, which is on the 5th of May 2024, that's CAD 564. Unfortunately, that's because it's almost a year. We have to go to a different archive system to get. I don't have access to that. Example 4, which states this is a civil dispute which was amicably resolved. Basically, what that is police were called to the venue by the landlord of the actual venue, so the person who owns the land of the venue, and the tenant was evicted. He wanted to discuss evicting the tenant over potential, whatever the business arrangements were, or what he felt was damaging the reputation of his leasehold, etc. It appears in this report, the landlord stated that the subject, which was Mr. Pajurji at the time, had a hammer in his car and threatened him with this when they were discussing the thing. The CAD has been resolved as a civil dispute. Both parties went their separate ways as agreed. A pocketbook entry was signed, and that means it was basically dealt with at the scene. So in answer to that, I'm just answering those things. Now, coming back to the temporary event notices, Chair, we do feel that the extension of hours over this festive period, which is the 25th of December, which for, as we know, a group of the community, this is quite a religious day, first and foremost, and to finish at 3 o'clock in the morning, which goes, sorry, Councillor, just to correct you, it goes 2 hours over their license. So they meant to shut at 1 o'clock. If we serve alcohol and extend that for those 2 hours, I'm not saying it will, but it does have the potential to lead to antisocial behaviour, public nuisance. If people are intoxicated, some people are vulnerable. And as we know with the incident that occurred on the 23rd of October, 2 victims were left in a very vulnerable position. Granted, the person who is alleged to have committed that offence is no longer, I believe, involved. He is the owner of the business, and that there is a different DPS. But what I am saying is I have concerns from what I've witnessed in my brief time here that this will not be dealt with in an adequate manner. And going on to New Year's Eve, I have a similar concern. I understand that for New Year's Eve, whilst again it closes at 1, there is ability to extend the hour as per government regulations by an extra hour for New Year's Eve, because it is that event. So if you're open till 2, I don't see why. Again, if we leave it open till 4 in the morning, people are intoxicated, it could then lead to leaving women vulnerable in terms of all principles. People who are drunk get into a scuffle, it leads to a crime or antisocial behaviour, public nuisance, which then affects the local residents above and around the locale. And I understand whilst it's not in the immediacy, it still has an impact on the local community. So from our side of things, Chair, this is the way we view it. Granted, I can't predict into the future, but these are my concerns, and that is why we're objecting to both these temporary event notices. I hope I've made clear what I was saying, and thank you for giving me the opportunity and the time to explain my rationale.
Thank you, Sergeant. I've got one question to ask you.
Yes.
Could you confirm if there have been any additional incidents reported beyond those that were mentioned by the applicant?
Chair, there is apologies. There is only one that has come on the 1st of December, and it is a connect. The reference is 01114738 of this year. It is a criminal damage which is not directly linked to the venue. However, the victim of this states that a drunk male has emanated from the mall, so that parade of shops, walked into the street in a drunken manner, almost walked into the car that was driving. The drunk male has then gesticulated, made offensive gestures, banged on the gentleman's vehicle, kicked the car, causing minor damage to it. Now, whilst I'm saying it's not directly necessarily linked to the venue, it is from that area. And if that is the venue, that is the only one open serving alcohol, I deduce that might be a link, but I cannot confirm that. So there is only one incident, Chair, regarding that. So apologies, there isn't a plethora or more of them, thank goodness, but yes, there is that one incident. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Sergeant. Fellow colleagues, do you have any questions to ask Sergeant Casa?
Yes, I want one clarification, Chair, with your permission.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Councillor.
Sergeant, thank you for giving the background history, but what we are relating your background history in terms of today's decision, which we are only considering extended hour. So if I will go back on the previous year, I just wanted to know through you, whenever in previous year, when we extended hours, the incidents and other stuff would be significantly high only because of extended hours. I can't hear you, Sergeant. Sergeant, I can't hear you.
You're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Councillor, are you referring to pre my tenure here in terms of when the temporary event notices were granted by the council?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't speak on that behalf, but from my indices, there are over, from 2018 as they've requested, I think there are over 100 incidents that have occurred from the Cavalieri Bar. I cannot categorically say. 247 hits are on our IIP that are linked to the Cavalieri Stoke Stack Bar from the 18th of January 2018 to date. That is a large amount of things to go through. I cannot give you the specific dates of all these things, otherwise we'd be sitting here. But yes, the venue does have a history. And Councillor, also in light of what has occurred when we went to the hearing on the 23rd of October, my concern is if someone is intoxicated are the SIA or the doorman going to leave the gentleman out on the street in the cold, close the shutters down and leave them vulnerable? This is what leaves me, that is my concern. I do apologise, but just answering and giving you some context.
I must remind you that we
Sorry,
are
Chair.
dealing with this case, and this is a fresh case, regardless of the previous
apologies.
case.
I do apologize.
Not to discuss any previous decisions or incidents.
All right, ignore my last comment then, Chair. I do apologise, but just in terms of that, Councillor, I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sergeant. As I said, because the applicant is not available to discuss any further questions that we might have, I will move now to submissions. Mrs. Zeb, is there anything else we need to cover before submissions?
Yes, Chair, if I just may make two observations. So firstly, in regards to Sergeant Kassar's sort of representations, that is in his knowledge, and he is entitled to make those representations because those are actual matters that have occurred in regards to the premises, just to clarify that point. And secondly, you've already considered the representations from the premises. And there you will have noted that there's mention in the premises objections that they've held a license for a number of years and would have applied for a number of 10s. And you may want to check both with Ms. Depu and Ms. Sergeant Kassar if any of those complaints that they've received occurred on Christmas Day and or New Year's Eve, just for your clarity, before going to final submissions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Zeb. So yes, Sergeant Kassar and Ms. Depu, have there been any incidents related to the 25th of December or the 1st of January when the
Sorry,
venue
apologies to interrupt. If I may, to the best of my knowledge, I don't believe that that is the case. And obviously, as a police officer, my integrity is not to be questioned. So I'm just being balanced and giving you the correct overview. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Depu?
The issue is that we don't have a service. So if we don't have a service, then residents don't contact us.
Okay, so you don't have, yes.
Yeah, we don't have. Those are the only 2 days of the year that we don't have a service. It's Christmas Day and New Year's Eve, unfortunately.
Thank you. I will move now to submissions and invite you, Ms. Depu, to make your submission, please.
Thank you, Chair. As I stated in my representation, the hours are unreasonable, regardless if it's half an hour, an hour and a half, whatever. And like I was going to say Councillor Kassar, Sergeant Kassar. Kassar said earlier, when people are intoxicated, and that means we're giving them the opportunity to get even more intoxicated and then cause more problems later on. And to some residents that maybe they just want to be at home and enjoy, I don't know, family or friends company. And my main concern is we don't have a noise service. We're not going to be able to respond. As we know, police are going to be extremely busy with other calls. And if it's a fight and they have to prioritize between a fight and something more serious, they will not attend a fight as they might not have the resources. And that's the concern. Why would we put the resident in that situation? They have to, once again, deal with that. And as I said, I contacted one of the residents and it seems like the situation is there's still people outside. They haven't mentioned, and I will confirm, they haven't mentioned music. It's just about people congregating outside, which is, again, it's one of their licensing conditions. In my professional opinion, and it's this extending hours, it will result in significant public nuisance and, of course, crime and disorder, as we know about the other incidents. I think that's all, and as I said earlier, I'm more than happy to provide any videos or any petitions. And with regards to the second petition, I took that petition, I had it in, I took a photo of it. I'm just thinking if I took it or I just took a photo of it, and then I redacted it manually. And but I've seen it in front of me, and it was different. But I think I have provided a petition, didn't one of them? Yeah, I have. I deleted the names. That's why. Okay, yeah, that's why you can't see. Sorry, but the handwriting was different. Yeah, they were all different people signing it and everything else. It's not like there was someone that has something against it. But yeah, the residents. This is the other issue. When I spoke earlier, I just remembered that the residents said that they would like to take more videos at 3, 4 a.m. I don't know what's going on at 3 or 4 a.m. But it's not. Well, they allege that it's not open to the public, but those customers that are in the premises, they stay longer. And this is what they are alleging, that they would like to take more videos, but I can't say too many things because then I'll disclose their location. They will be seen if they do that.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Tupou. I can see Councillor Mahmood, you've got your hand up. Any questions you may have? You're on mute.
No, sorry, Chair. I did not understand properly. So what, Mimi, you are saying is you were not able to provide the latest petition. You provided the previous petition, but is there any petition against extended hours or not?
I don't know. A petition against extended hours? No. This petition, it was with regards to all the issues that we've had in the past. There are 2 petitions. It's not linked to this hearing in particular.
Thank you.
Super. Thank you. I'll move now to Sergeant Kassa to briefly sum up, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just from the Metropolitan Police perspective, we just feel that if on both dates that are in discussion, which are the 25th of December and the 1st of January, the new year, we feel that if we extend these hours, it's the extension of the supply of alcohol hours that cause us major concern in terms of when people are intoxicated. From policing experience myself of a number of years, I'm aware of the amount of violent incidents it can bring. It puts people in vulnerable positions, and I understand that each individual has a freedom of choice to do what they want to do, but from a policing perspective, we just feel that if we extend these hours on Christmas Day, which is a religious day for a part of the community, and New Year's Eve, I just feel that these extension of hours and the supply of alcohol for these extended hours from our side of things will lead to potentially lead to a public nuisance, which then leads to crime and disorder, which then leads to public safety. And in terms of that, these are the 3 of the licensing objectives that we are concerned about that may not be adhered to over this period of time due to the extension of the supply of alcohol hours on Christmas Day till 3 in the morning and New Year's Eve till 4 in the morning. And in terms of that, that is my representation and that is our concern from a policing perspective. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Sergeant. Sorry. So now the panel will retire to deliberate together with legal advisor and clerk, and I think we would be back about 12:30. What do you think, Ms. Seb?
Chair, it's a matter for you.
Would this give you enough time, 12:30?
Would it give you enough time, did you mean? Sorry, Chair. Yes, it should be sufficient, and if you need more time, then clearly you can ask and let the parties know.
Okay, thank you, Sergeant and Ms. Tupou.
Thank you.